Hi, welcome to my channel and my series Agenda, where I'm going to be talking to my friends and we're just going to get together and muse together. And this is my friend Rob. Rob, would you like to introduce yourself to the viewers?
Sure. So my name is Rob, and I'm founder of my site. My trademark is Psychobard. I'm essentially building a music persona that's centered around a mythic world I'm creating, really mythic worlds and
Cool.
songs, alt rock songs that kind of correspond to that, and working on a graphic novel. I'm informed a lot by psychoanalysis, philosophy, and ancient cultures,
Oh, that's awesome.
as well as punk rock.
Yeah. So, me and Rob met at a party and just like totally hit it off. And ever since then, we've just been kind of keeping in touch. We wanted to get together today. What, for what reason? What are we going to talk about?
Um, well, I believe you wanted to talk about Pi
Mhm.
Archimedes,
Yeah.
because tomorrow, or not really tomorrow, the day after tomorrow
Uh-huh.
is going to be the 14th.
Yeah, Pi Day. Actually, this will come out on Pi Day.
Nice, nice.
And I knew that you would be the person to ask about this. Um,
Thank you.
just based on what I know about you so far. We haven't known each other for very long, but pi is so interesting. It's kind of hard to nail down because it's a constant, but it's infinite, right?
Yes, exactly. And it is an irrational number.
Uh-huh.
That's something that I was just, looking into this because I'm really interested in terms of ancient philosophy, and this also dovetails with psychology, psychoanalysis in some way, that Archimedes is from Syracuse, and it's the same place that Pythagoras is from. So Pythagoras was there a few hundred years before Archimedes, and Pythagoras was a geometer that kind of had a very optimistic school of geometry that the universe is governed by numbers, and the numbers and ratios are rational, right?
Right.
Whereas, and a circle is, of course, one of the most important symbols of that rationalism. But what Archimedes discovered is that the constant in a circle is something that is actually irrational, something that cannot be expressed fully, something that goes on forever. And that made the rules governing the universe a lot messier.
Hmm. And he was trying to understand how to measure that, like the circumference of a circle. And so he was using something called the Ennea Contica Chi hexagon, the 109 side hexagon, and or polygon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically
polygon.
it's creating a polygon with with as many sides as possible,
Hmm.
as many sides as he could possibly draw. And um so what's interesting about a circle is that a perfect circle is something that does not exist in the material world, right? So this is a circle right here, and we look at it and we see it's a circle. We know it's a circle, and we perceive it as being a perfect circle, but it's not. There's something that's off that we can't see. If we were to measure it to see whether it's a perfect circle, we would find actually this is not a perfect circle. It's slightly off. And that's true of every manufactured circle, even every natural circle in the material world.
Well, you know what I've always wondered is if you had a cylinder that was like a theoretical cylinder, um, would just in space, would the ends of it, would that represent like a beginning and an end, or would that just be more space? The ends of it, is that a circle or is that open?
Okay, interesting. So I guess a cylinder, so we're getting a cylinder is a three-dimensional object. So I think the way you would think about this in terms of a circle, a plane of a cylinder is a circle at the front and the end, right?
Mhm.
But then if you look at a different plane of the cylinder, it's going to be closer to an oval or a rectangle, right? So if you look at the cylinder like that, looking at this plane, right? So a
Right.
plane means like if you take a blade and you cut through it, right? You
Mhm.
cut through it lengthwise, and just look at what you have, just one layer of it, the smallest possible layer. That's if you look at it lengthwise, it's going to be like a rectangle, right? Whereas if you take that blade, you cut off, you look at the front and the end, right?
Mhm.
And you cut off the smallest possible units in the front to the end, you get another plane that's going to be a circle. So I would say like as I'm thinking about this,
Uh-huh.
uh, I the way I would see it is that a circle is part of a cylinder, but it is not the only part of the cylinder.
You just blew my mind. Like totally. That's awesome. The other thing that I was reading about is that there was another guy who
Hmm.
was trying to figure out the circumference of a circle, and he used the same method as Archimedes.
Interesting.
But he was not familiar with his work. And but so whenever you think of like years in BC, um, this was taking place in 500 BC, and then the time when Archimedes was discovering pi, that was around 300 BC. So which one was first?
Uh,
Because it goes
so yeah, so basically BC or BCE, as it's sometimes called, um, you count kind of backwards, right?
right. That's what I thought.
Because
Okay.
if you're saying BCE, it means before the Common Era.
Mm-hmm.
BC means before Christ,
Mm-hmm.
right? So depending on which of those versions you like, you're counting to a date. You're counting down to a date where the Common Era begins, and the Common Era begins with the figure, the historical figure of Christ,
Mm-hmm.
right? And partly one of the reasons why that happened is because of the Roman Empire, because that's how the Romans were counting dates. They used to count dates from the founding of the city of Rome, right? Then when they became Christian, they instead started counting dates from the birth of Christ.
Okay.
So because we've inherited so much historical data using that system. We inherited the system. It was taken over in medieval times, taken over in modern times, and even as the world became kind of secular in the recording of history, you couldn't really go back and change it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a convention that stays, right? That's kind of the long answer.
Yeah.
But what it tells us though is that if the guy you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure who this guy is, but if this guy was living in like 500,
Mm-hmm.
then he would have come before Archimedes.
Right. Okay. So that was Su Changzi.
Okay, interesting. So
Yeah.
this completely different part of the world.
Uh-huh.
Sounds like this is ancient China.
Yeah. I believe so. Yeah.
Yes. So and yeah, it's a good chance that like that might that is a philosophy that I cannot directly speak to. I'm much more conversant in ancient Greek philosophy than in ancient Chinese philosophy.
Hmm.
Although I am exploring it more, and I do find it interesting.
Okay. Well, so before we forget, uh, Paula had something to bring us. I made something for today.
Oh, nice.
Oh wait, where's the knife? Okay.
Oh, that looks very nice. Wow.
Ta-da. I haven't done this since my son Alex. I had to make something for Pi
Yeah,
Day.
that smells wonderful too.
And yeah, it does smell really good. Let's cut it. Let's eat some.
All right, so interesting question is like, what does Pythagoras, or I'm getting ahead of myself, Archimedes kind of mean to me? Psychobard, my own music, storytelling, novel, graphic novel, etc. Well, I guess in one word, it's the occult, because Archimedes, he's kind of throwing a fork into uh, a kind of occult mystic belief, Platonic realism, which is the belief that numbers have some sort of empiric existence beyond their use on paper, that mathematical rules govern the universe. It was thought they were rational, perfect numbers, just like a perfect circle is a perfect circle. But then it turns out from Archimedes that they are irrational numbers. They are very kind of um, very messy, because reality is kind of messy, and maybe the occult, the world beyond this world, is also a good deal messy, and that kind of messiness is what is uncovered in psychoanalytic theory. It's also what makes psychedelia cool, and what makes psychology cool. That we want the rational, we get the messy, and so um, my art is kind of a messy art. The stories I tell are messy, and the mythology that I'm creating is a messy one. But there's kind of order in the chaos, because pi is used for lots of great stuff, as I'm sure tech experts will be able to say better than I can.
All right. So where can people find you?
So if you're interested in exploring more, I've got my website, psychobard.com, and I'm updating the website. Um, but where I explore lots of themes like this is on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok in particular, also to a lesser extent, Facebook and Instagram. Um, and also you can find my music on YouTube Music and Spotify. Either of those are a good option. My Spotify numbers kind of suck right now, so if you're interested at all in exploring my music, please check it out there, and give me some feedback.
Yeah, everybody support Psychobard.
Yeah, or
Support Rob.
listen on YouTube Music, leave a comment, thumbs up. That stuff helps. It matters.
Yeah, you know what? I loved your clip where you were talking about discovering other songs, like the lesser known songs.
Oh yeah.
That was really good because I feel like I get into that a lot just by listening to the radio, especially at really odd hours, like literally
Yes.
3 or 4 in the morning.
That's
So
when they
I
play.
always have the
Yeah.
radio on co-op, and I have discovered some songs that got added into my rotation, like my
Oh wow.
personal
Yeah.
rotation, that I love, and I know I never would have found them. And so that was a really good point on that video. Hey, by the way, have you gotten your ticket to My Life with the Thrill
Oh
Kill Cult?
yes, I have. I got that ticket.
Yes, we're going to My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult.
Yeah, that's gonna be
Everyone,
cool.
yeah, come and see us there. So, okay, thanks.
All right. Bye.